3,000 years ago, I made a video about the Beneish M-score, or manipulation score. The M-score is a numerical formula that aims to identify companies that are engaging in earnings manipulation. Now, in that video, I used some free sources that you could calculate this number. Sometimes the calculation was a bit wrong, and also, eventually, it wasn't really free at all. There is a paywall that... Then we used a tool that's on the University of Indiana's website, a good tool, but there you have to fill in the data manually. So I kind of took it upon myself to make a tool where you can download the data automatically, and then you will have the M-score for any US ticker that you can think of. The tool I'm using is completely free. It's just open source code, everything about it. So I'm quite excited to show you the tool. I've already sent it to my favorite streamers, and they are reacting to it as we speak.
So I wonder what's all... Okay, damn, there... Okay, so there go all the stuff over there.
Hold on.
So it looks like this. So how do you use it? Well, first you can click on the information if you want to know more about the M-score. There's a summary of it, and as well as all the formulas. Let's go with the ticker that we have in the user guide, Apple. So we enter Apple here in the little box here, and it's going to bring us to this window. So the first time you're using the app after you have reloaded, you have to give the SEC, because that's where we get the data from. We have to give the SEC kind of an identifier, and I usually just put my email, and then we enter it, so it's gonna give the SEC the identifier, and then we can actually get the data from the SEC, and you can have the score right here. So it's minus 2.48. Future me here realized I don't go into the details of the model here, since I do that in my previous video. So if you want to know more details, check that out. For now, all you need to know is M-score above minus 1.78 could indicate bad financials. So in that case, it's good to do some further investigation. It's likely no manipulation if you are using this model. And the data will be loaded right here. All of the data that we need to calculate it. So it's already been calculated automatically, but if you want or need, you can manually adjust any of these values as you see fit. Now let's try another ticker. We just go here, we subtract Apple, and then we put in Tesla, for example. And then we're gonna download all the numbers, and Tesla is automatically gonna give us the M-score. So it's quite similar to Apple, that there's no likely sign of manipulation based on the accounting data. There's one issue here I found actually, that if you look at this one, the accounts receivables here, actually this accounts receivable is not 100% correct, because the data I'm using, or the code I'm using, are always extracting the data that exists. In this case, for accounts receivables, it's on the balance sheet. But the thing is, for Tesla, there are actually other receivables in the financial statements that are not listed on the balance sheet. I won't be able to grab it as for now. So that is kind of what I'm saying here in this message. So please double check the numbers by clicking on an accounting item. And that's what we can do here for accounts receivables. So it's gonna just bring us to Seeking Alpha page for the balance sheet. We see that the accounts receivables here are slightly off. Seeking Alpha gets their data from the S&P Global or something like that. They are accumulating all kinds of stuff that exists in the notes to get the correct receivables. The same issue will actually happen for long-term debts. On Tesla's balance sheet, they have a line called debt and finance leases net of the current portion. So that is exactly what we want. But this one doesn't actually include all of the leases. There are other leases that are included underneath the balance sheet in the notes. If you look at Seeking Alpha, they will have the correct value. You might ask, why don't you just scrape all the data from Seeking Alpha and put it in the tool automatically? Well, Seeking Alpha is quite a complex website. It's not easy at all. I haven't found a way to do it. So let's change the long-term debt values and the accounts receivable values. And what did we have before? We had minus 2.9. After we have inputted our custom values for receivables and long-term debt, let's see what we get. We get minus 2.92. So you see, these differences are quite small. Now, as we see, all of this data is free, so it doesn't use an API from S&P Capital IQ or Bloomberg, right? So the data will not be as high quality as that, because we get the data from the SEC. So that's free, but it comes with some other costs, right, that we saw before. Tool here is built with something called Streamlit. So I'm not a software developer by any means. So Streamlit is a good framework to work with, because quite easily with some Python code, you can create some quite nice looking interfaces or web applications. Of course, it's a bit limited because you don't really do any web design. But anyway, I think it's still cool to use. Take a look at the tool and let me know, grill me in the comments if you find some data that you think is weird or something is missing, because then I can look at it and maybe improve some of the filters that I'm using to get the accounting data I need. Interesting times, ladies and gentlemen. If you like the video, please make sure to subscribe and like and follow for more awesome content. All right, see you next time.